friends, I'm Alexa and this is Alexa Loves Books, where I talk about all things bookish and maybe a few other things that I'm interested in. Today I wanted to do something that I've seen floating around and done by other creators, and it also just feels like a fun thing to do, and that's a seasonal TBR. So I'll be doing a spring TBR to share what I'm hoping to read this year during the 3 months of spring. Spring officially started where I live on March 19th and it will be going on through June. So I do have a lot of time to cover all of these books and maybe hopefully get to all of them. So my only parameters for picking out this particular set of books to read is that I wanted to just choose things that I already had on my shelves. So there's no new releases in this one. There's no books that I don't already own on it. So I'm hoping this will help me with my goal of tackling my TBR this year, hoping. So without further ado, here are all the books and a few manga that I would like to read during the spring season. If you see me glancing down, it's because I'm looking at my laptop. I made some short summaries for each of these books. Anyway, now that that's all out of the way, let's get started on this list. And if you see anything that you have read and you think that I'm really going to enjoy, I would love to hear about it in the comments section. First things first, we have a book that I acquired last year around my birthday. And that book is Family Lore, which is by Elizabeth Acevedo. I've only read one other book by this author, The Poet X, and I loved it. It was on my favorites list of the year that I read it. This is her adult fiction debut. So in Family Lore, Flora's gift allows her to predict when someone will die to the day. So when she calls for a living wake to bring her family together, her sisters are surprised and obviously curious about whose death she may have foreseen. But the women of this family each have their own obstacles to contend with, and Acevedo weaves those tales together in this book. Next, we have a recommendation from my friend Rachel of Hello Chelly. That is Practice Makes Perfect by Sarah Adams. This is actually the second in a companion novel series. I have not read the first, but does this cover not scream spring? You're gonna see it actually, because even Family Lore, a lot of these books have flowers on the cover. Flowers, spring. It's an easy association, right? Anyway, Practice Makes Perfect is a adult contemporary romance where a small town sweetheart and an emotionally unavailable bad boy find some common ground, and that is really in the Goodreads synopsis, so just sharing that with you guys. I love this cover though. Then we have a book that I picked up because of Jessica from Peace Love Books, and that is Whispers of You by Catherine Cowles. I've never read this author, but I love this cover. This is romantic suspense, adult romantic suspense. Ren and Halt are childhood friends turned lovers, and they end up separated after a tragedy strikes the small town that they both live in. Years later, Halt has returned to make things right. And I'm super curious about Catherine Cowles. I've seen her books mentioned, not just by Jessica, but by a lot of other people. And I don't read a lot of romantic suspense, but I'm very curious, so I will be picking this one up. Then we have a book that was recommended by Rachel, and that is The Neighbor Favor by Christina Forrest. In this one, a shy bookworm enlists her charming neighbor to help her score a date, not knowing that he's actually the obscure author that she's been corresponding with, which sounds like everything I would love. It's like a neighbor romance, but it's also got this like hidden identity sort of thing to it, and it's got a bookish aspect. Like, what more could I ask for? So looking forward to picking this one up as well. Next, we have Wild is the Witch, which is by Rachel Griffin. This is her sophomore novel, I want to say. In this one, the main character Iris accidentally enacts a curse and has to team up with a boy who hates witches in order to make sure that her magic doesn't have dire consequences. Aside from the flowers on the cover, I should show you guys what's under it. Very pretty. That was the first edition printing, I think, that had it. Next, we have Threads That Bind, which is by Kika Hatsupulo. I love the colors of this particular edition. The Goodreads summary says, in a world where the children of the gods inherit their powers, a descendant of the Greek faiths must solve a series of impossible murders to save her sisters, her soulmate, and her city, which sounds like a fun YA fantasy romp to me. The next book is Castle in the Air, which is by Diana Wynne Jones. This is the second in sort of the Howl's Moving Castle series. I actually also want to reread Howl's, but I'm going to put this one on here because I've never read it. This one follows Abdullah, who is a humble carpet merchant who dreams of becoming or being a prince. And when a jinn carries someone precious to him away, Abdullah is determined to go and rescue them with the help of a bad-tempered genie and a not-so-reliable magic carpet. So I'm looking forward to it. Plus, I love the aesthetic of this cover so much. Next, we have Before We Say Goodbye, which is by Toshikazu Kawaguchi. This is the fourth book in the Before the Coffee Gets Cold series, which I've really enjoyed all the books in. In this one, there's a new set of visitors at Cafe Funicula, where they're hoping to travel through time for a variety of their own reasons and are only limited by the time it takes for their coffee to get cold. Next, we have Only When It's Us, which is by Chloe Leese. This is a contemporary romance. This one's more new adult, I've heard, and this author I've heard a lot about. I've just never read any of their work. The two main characters are forced to work on a class project together, and when Willa and Ryder end up, starting this game of pranks and practical jokes, eventually they each become determined to win each other's hearts, not just the game. So that sounds like a lot of fun, and I've heard great things about the Bergman brothers, so I am very curious about this series. And then we have a book by an author whose work I have read and enjoyed before, and that is Throne of the Fallen by Carrie Maniscalco, which is a chunker, but I am looking forward to reading this one as well. This is sort of tied to her Kingdom of the Wicked series, but it follows a different Prince of Hell. So in order to save his demon court, Envy is taking part in a deadly game. In order to avoid a ruinous scandal, Camilla, an artist, enters a devil's bargain with Envy. So this pair has to journey through the underworld together, avoiding traps and encountering trials, including the most dangerous trap/trial of all, which is falling in love. And I am very excited to finally, hopefully get to this in the spring. The next book is a recommendation from my friend Rachel again, and she actually gave me the copy of this book, and that's All Roads Lead to You, which is by Jennifer Probst. This is an adult contemporary romance about Harper, who is passionate about her rescue farm and also her healing thoroughbred Phoenix, who she wants to lead into winning a triple crown. And she will be getting assistance from Aidan O'Connor, who is a horse trainer that comes to stay at her family's B&B. It's a romance, it's got horses. Can't really ask for more, can I? The next book is also by an author whose work I have read before, just one book though, but I liked it, and I think that I will definitely be checking out the rest of their work, and that book is The Poison Season, which is by Mara Rutherford. In this one, our main character Lilo has never questioned her life on Endla, which is an existence between a bloodthirsty forest and a poisonous lake. But when she saves an outsider from drowning in the lake, she finds herself questioning everything she thought she knew. The next book I am really looking forward to, but I'm also afraid to get my heart broken while I'm reading it, but in the best way, and that is This Could Be Us by Kennedy Ryan, which is part of her Skyland series, the next companion novel sequel to Before I Let Go, which I read and loved last year. In this one, Soledad Barnes, who was a secondary character, one of the friends in the first book, she's had her whole life planned out until a unexpected divorce threw a wrench into her plans. Now she's learning to navigate life as a single mother, rediscovering herself, and maybe, just maybe, she's going to get another chance at falling in love. The next book is also by an author that I have read before, and I'm really excited about this one because it just sounds cozy and fun, and that's A Fragile Enchantment by Alison Saft. In this book, a magical dressmaker commissioned for the royal wedding finds herself embroiled in scandal when a gossip columnist draws attention to her undeniable chemistry with the groom. And that just sounds like a lot of fun, and I love the idea of magical dressmaking. Then we have, again, another recommendation from my friend Rachel. She's gonna be so happy to know that I'm reading most of her recommendations. This one is Done and Dusted, which is by Lila Sage. When an accident causes our main character Clementine Emmy Ryder to have to return to the hometown she always wanted to escape, she ends up crossing paths with her brother's best friend, Luke Brooks, who is like the resident bad boy type, and unexpected sparks fly between them. Very excited to get to this one, and I love the way they designed this cover. Then we have a book that I am super curious about that only came out last year. It was one of the secret projects that Brandon Sanderson did, and that is Tress of the Emerald Sea. This edition is beautiful. Anyway, this one is inspired by The Princess Bride, and our main character Tress has really only known life on her island home. When Tress finds out that her childhood friend / love Charlie was on a disastrous voyage, she takes it upon herself to stow away and seek the sources of the deadly Midnight Sea for answers. Next is a book that I think is just going to be a fun time, truly, and I also really like the cover, and that is Raiders of the Lost Heart by Joe Segura. According to the Goodreads blurb for this adult contemporary romance, rival archaeologists who have to team up on a secret Aztec expedition, or it could leave their lives, careers, and hearts in ruins. Next is a book that I'm dying to get to because I have read this author's other series and absolutely loved it, and I'm sure that I'm going to enjoy this one as well. This is Flawless by Elsie Silver. In this adult contemporary romance, we have Summer Hamilton, who has now been tasked to babysit Rhett Eaton, who is a PR bull riding nightmare, and of course sparks fly. Another romance, this one I got in an Afterlight box, and I have heard nothing but good things. Forget Me Not by Julie Soto, and I love this edition so much. In this adult contemporary romance, we have an ambitious wedding planner who has to work with her grumpy florist ex, whose heart she broke, on the most high-profile wedding of her career. Second chance romance? Sounds angsty, sounds fun. I can't wait to get to it. Next, we have Anne of Manhattan, which is by Brina Starler, which Rachel and Kristen have both been telling me to read for ages. This is a modern take on Anne of Green Gables. It's set in New York City, where Anne Shirley is now going to grad school, and she's head-to-head again with her former rival Gilbert Blythe in their final year of school. Then we have Trial of the Sun Queen, which is by Nisha J. Tooley. In this one, it kind of sounds a little bit like The Bachelor, because there are 10 women tributes and they're competing in a deadly contest to become the Sun Queen and win the Sun King's heart, which honestly just sounds like a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to reading this as well. Then we have Love Like the Falling Petals by Keisuke Uyama, which has this beautiful cover. This is the last of the novels that I'm hoping to pick up this season. In this one, a young couple navigates the ups and downs of life and relationships together. Honestly, just sounds like the kind of thing that I'm going to really enjoy diving into. Alright, we've come to the last part of this video, which is 3 different manga series. All of them I just need to catch up because I've already started them. So first is Witch Hat Atelier, which I love. This is by Kamome Shirahama, and I have raved about this one before, but in case this is your first time encountering this title, Witch Hat Atelier is about Coco, who dreams of becoming a witch. Though in her world, only those that have magical abilities can become witches. However, she ends up trying out a spell, it goes awry, and she ends up meeting a witch named Quifrey. Her entire life changes. Then we have something more comedic, got a little bit more action, and that is Spy X Family, which is by Tatsuya Endo. In this particular series, Lloyd Forger, aka codename Twilight, must build a family to successfully execute a mission, not realizing that his adopted daughter Anya is actually a telepath, and the woman he agrees to marry, Yor, is a skilled assassin. And you can just imagine the shenanigans that this series has had, and it's so much fun. It's so delightful, and I'm excited to get caught up on this as well as on the anime. And last, but certainly not least, and one that I'm sure will make Kristen very happy, I intend to read the entirety of and finally finish out Kiss Me at the Stroke of Midnight, which is by Rin Mikimoto. In this particular manga series, an actor named Cade Ayase comes to shoot a film at a local high school. He ends up crossing paths with one of the students at the school, Hinata Hanazawa, when she becomes an extra in his film, and sparks fly between them. So there you have it. Those are all the titles that I'm hoping to get to during the spring season. Fingers crossed, it would really make a dent in my TBR, but also they just all sound really good. As you can tell, spring is the season when I feel the most drawn to contemporary and romance stories and like cozy fantasies as well. And so I am excited. There are also a bunch of new releases I have my eye on, but stay tuned. I may or may not have a video coming with some more of them being mentioned there. Anyway, I hope you're all well. I hope whatever the season may be where you are safe and you are healthy and sound. And if you want to connect with me anywhere else online, all of my links are down below, and I will see you guys with a new video soon. Bye!